It's been way too long. Hey medics, today's patient, Kaiju number 8, which I've come to find out means monster number 8. I am bilingual now. I'm gonna be giving my initial thoughts on the show from the couple episodes that I've watched. I'll get straight to the point. I like this show. What made me start watching this is how cool the gunfights look. Y'all remember Sword Art Online? It's my second time bringing up SAO in a video. But if you didn't get past season 1, understandable. But in the second season, Kirito went to this game called Gun Gale Online, where instead of sword art, it was Gun Gale. The way they incorporated sci-fi gunfighting was really cool. I haven't really watched a lot of earlier 2000 anime. I know back then they were pushing out gun anime like crazy. But when I do watch shows like Gun Gale and Licorice Recoil, anime incorporating these like John Wick, Titanfall type of scenes gets me intrigued because it's like more refreshing for me than go-to sword fighting in anime. So when I started watching the show, I was really pleased and it made me want to like look for more sci-fi and like gunfighting anime. If you got any recommendations, put me on. There's a wave of old characters in anime right now. Usually action anime have some 13-year-old whose parents don't care what they got going on. I'm looking at you going, but now today's anime, we're moving a little different. I was just given a great main character who was an old hag over 1,000 years old. And now I got Kafka, who's 32. It's a big age gap between those two, I know. Now, I'm not the one calling 32 old, the show is. The premise of Kaiju number 8, as of now at least, monsters are attacking Japan, because when isn't Japan under attack by unnatural forces and fiction? And when these monsters attack, there is a Kaiju defense force there to protect civilians from harm. Our story follows Kafka, who is this washed up guy who tried to get in the defense force, but did not make the cut. So he settled on helping in another way, cleaning up the mess that the defense force leaves behind after they kill all of these kaiju. I mean, these kaiju make a mess, bro. And they're extremely big, just guts everywhere, bro. But this frame right here, bro, I need that. Kind of like how the scouts are well known in Attack on Titan, so is the defense force. But the defense force in the beginning of this show is actually celebrated. People love these soldiers, specifically Mina. She's so cool! Let me hit! Mina, the same woman who was childhood friends with Kafka, and after Kaiju had destroyed their home, Kafka made the proclamation that they would grow up and become defense soldiers together and fight against Kaiju. And then he fell off. And at the start of Kaiju, it feels like he's really actually content on where he is in his life. But then after a long day at work, them true feelings started to come out. Bro's watching the TV and seeing everybody fan out over Mina. It should have been me. Going into the show, I already knew that he would unlock some type of kaiju power because literally the cover of the show is him as a kaiju. So I was wondering what his motivations would be and how they would carry those out. And the way they carry those out, honestly, really good. Sometimes when you can't fully look yourself in the mirror, you may need somebody else to look at in order for you to finally understand and realize what's bothering you. And that's the role that Ichikawa plays. While they portray Kafka as an old washed man who's given up on his dreams, Ichikawa is young and full of ambition, striving to still join the defense force. If you watch my free run video, you already know I love parallels like this. A lot of anime off the bat already start with the motivation to become the best. But what happens when you cut off that motivation and you have somebody who's actually just already given up? So when someone like Ichikawa is introduced and his first lines are literally, bro, why did you give up? And Kafka's like, oh, I never really even given this proper thought, where he can't even give an answer and he's nervously laughing, trying to laugh it off, feeling embarrassed inside, standing in front of this younger person who still has his old aspirations. Off rip, I'm like, oh, this has like really good potential for character writing. We then find out that the reason Ichikawa joined the cleaning kaiju service because he wanted some part-time experience dealing with kaiju in order to help himself prepare for the defense force exam. Over the span of these 9 episodes that are out right now, they portray his determination in such non-in-your-face way. I don't really know how to describe it, but just like the little things, like him working part-time to get more knowledge for the defense force, things like that. Or one of the captains immediately seeing the potential that he has to be a defense force captain. Like, I can tell he's gonna be one of my favorites as the show progresses. But yeah, when we find out he's there to get experience for the defense force exam, he tells Kafka that there's been a really crucial update for the exam. They have raised the maximum age to take the exam to 32, which just so happens to be Kafka's age. And then there's this real heartfelt moment between the two. He's like, yo, like, no glaze, but you have some pretty W aura for an unk. Like, W OLDHEAD. Ichikawa, wait. Huh? I have no idea what any of those words mean, kid. Huh? You're such a head Unc. Do you not have TikTok? Yeah, kaiju just be popping up wherever in this show. Nowhere is safe in Japan. Kafka saves Ichikawa from this kaiju, you know, pushed him out the way, probably broke his hip in the process. You know how it go when you up there in age. But again, one of the covers of the show is this man already as a kaiju. And I had low-key been hearing murmurings of some Attack on Titan comparisons. And AOT is my favorite show. So I was like, if this man Kafka gets eaten by this kaiju and turns into a kaiju, this is word for word, bar for bar. But luckily for me as a viewer, that didn't happen. Unlucky for Kafka, he got his leg twisted. And more unlucky and embarrassing for him, he got saved by Mina, his childhood friend, who didn't even bat an eye after she saved him. He's just like moving on to the next objective. Bro passes out from pain and embarrassment and wakes up in a hospital. I can't believe Mina saved me out of all people. Such a loser. Glad to see you're alive, Unc. I thought I was the only one in here. I was starting to think you died of old age. I'm 32. If I died today, it would be from unnatural causes. Speaking of unnatural causes, you didn't have any emergency contacts, so they asked me to sign off on a couple things for you. And why would they do that? After you passed out, I was yelling, Unc, wake up! So they just assumed I was your nephew. Kill me. So what did you sign off on? Morphine, Oxycontin, ibuprofen 500, and fentanyl. You let them give me fentanyl? Ichikawa! Relax, it would have already killed you by now if it was dangerous. Oh fuck. Bro turned into a kaiju. Similar to a show that I know where this guy gets eaten by a monster and then turns into a monster. But instead of this, you know, he eats the monster and then turns into the monster. That's neither here or there. After he turns into a kaiju, they do this confused with my abilities thing, kind of like how they did in Spider-Man when Peter or Miles in the Spider-Verse case had a really hard time adjusting to their newfound abilities. They do the same thing here, but it's really bad in Kafka's case because now he has the ability of a supernatural being. So he's unintentionally tearing walls of a hospital down. Kaiju number 8 is goofy in its own right. Like, this is kind of a critical point in the show, but there's a lot of comedic moments. They actually run into another kaiju and we get to see how actually strong Kafka is in this new form. Like, this man charges up a crazy smash attack and murders a kaiju in one hit. Hit him so hard it started raining blood. In one night, he's become stronger than any soldier in the defense force. Which brings me to my next point, and this doesn't even just apply to just Kaiju number 8. I am tired of main characters not being as spineless as I am. This man Kafka essentially gets supernatural powers, and he's like, I have no plans on using these powers in order to pass the exam. I'm gonna pass on my own merit. Bro, I'm telling y'all, the day I get superpowers, it's raps. I'm not using my powers for good, you know, saving cats from trees. Let's say I were to get like teleportation powers tonight. Not even 15 minutes after I discover I have these powers, I'm going to Best Buy and seeing who got PS5s in stock. I'm about to steal. Anyways, Kafka and Ichikawa go to the mage exam. The mage exam. So many exams, bro. The Chunin exam, Hunter's exam, the mage exam, and now the Defense Force exam, bro. Anime loves some exams. But when they get to the Defense Force exam, we get introduced to Kikuru, bratty, rich, blonde girl. I use a lot of Danganronpa music in my videos. If you've played Danganronpa, this is basically Hiyoko. It's a small, annoying shit talker chatterbox. But unlike Hiyoko, she's actually kinda cold. She wasn't really cold when she picked up Kafka's van and slammed it on the ground because they were taking up her parking spot. That was a little obnoxious, but hey, charge it to the game. She has a lot of clout to her name. When she arrives at the exam, everybody seems to already know who she is. She's like a young #1 draft pick. She had security with her at the exam. When Kafka finally found out who she actually was and he was like grabbing her, talking to her security was on timing, bro. I didn't see anybody on Twitter or anything talking about this, but this punch is crazy, bro. They were not playing. #1 young draft pick. She's basically the LeBron James of the cast. And much like LeBron James, she has a shaky relationship with her father.
Wow, Kikuru, you scored the highest in the class again. Of course I did. Doesn't it make you so jealous on how smarter I am than you? Nope, because I have something you'll never have. And what would that be? Unconditional love for my father.
Amanda dear.
Dad!
How's my little pumpkin?
Just happy to see my father. She has no idea what she's talking about. My dad loves me.
Kikuru, I do not love you. Not until you become the strongest Defense Force soldier. Character dynamics between her and Kafka is very interesting. You kind of see her like morph into this tsundere type character, not in a romantic way for Kafka, but in a I've never had a loving father type of way. He's slowly becoming this big brother, uncle type of guy in her life. I was talking to somebody about how this show has the same feeling of camaraderie that Haikyuu does whenever they form the relationships between the team. Like, it feels high spirited and everybody's trying to help each other out, and it's really competitive, and that competitiveness kind of strengthens the bonds that they have. So I can already tell in future episodes, much like Haikyuu, I'm gonna actually care for these characters when they get developed a little bit more. It seems like a wide, diverse cast that they have. This show does feel like it was created by somebody who loves anime, because I'm kind of feeling like different inspirations from a lot of shows just put into one whenever I'm watching this. Especially Attack on Titan though, bro. Monsters terrorize town, bro wants to join popular army who defeats these monsters. He then turns into the monsters to fight the monsters and joins the army that fights the monsters. It's a lot of parallels. It's not a bad thing. Again, you know, no idea is necessarily unique. Right now, I'm gonna give this show a high 7 out of 10, low 8. I'm really rocking with this show, honestly. I don't know how many episodes is gonna be out this first season though. I hope it's more than 12, because if it ends at 12, I'm gonna be a little upset. But let me know what you think about this show. Make sure you like this video and subscribe if you already haven't. Kaiju number 8 is dismissed for now.